Hi, I'm the spokesperson for a new product called that I developed and that I'm now workshopping. Imagine this is a T-shirt. I'm working on a T-shirt design. I'll probably just use this, and it's essentially what we've done is we've taken the concept of milk and we've made well, it's it's not really different per se. I mean, milk is milk. There's no difference. Um, so, that's my idea, and I hope that you'll donate to my crowd fund. So I can get some money uh, for to make these T-shirts. Um, it's for, you might have a cat or several cats. You might be, a weird old lady, and one of the cats has all these. You've seen them. They'll roll over and want you to like, uh, you know, uh, scratch their whatever's, and right, yeah, we know what they want, and right, and so the some of them have these great big nipples, right, and like 12 of them, right, and some of the other cats they don't, right. So this is essentially it's like a sweater, or like a vest, you might say, for cats that don't have as many nipples as the ones that do, so they don't feel so left out necessarily. So hi, I'm the spokesperson for dog dicks. I'm sorry. Hi, I'm the spokesperson for Pig's Feet, and so you might have seen these characters, kind of sloshing around, if you've ever been to a farm or a petting zoo, and they're actually 3 times smarter than dogs, right? And so what I was wanting to do is, since dogs aren't as smart, I thought maybe they'd want to walk a mile in these guys' shoes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make molds of pig's feet and put little rubber treads. You can tie them up, lace them up, and you can put these on dogs, right? And so they don't feel so stupid, right? And if you could, donate to the wherever the link is, and I'll get some T-shirts out to you guys as soon as I can. I'm the spokesperson for the Tacos for Terry campaign, and I just want to say, my friend Terry, he just used up all of his food stamps for the month. I know it's only a weekend, but he really likes Mexican food, and there's this place on the corner. Um, it's called Tacos, Tacos, Tacos. Hi, I'm the spokesperson, really the creator behind the Diarrhea is Delicious campaign. And this, you've seen my other video. This one is for specifically for maybe large-breasted women. I am the spokesperson and founder of the Hamster Cages Are Prison Camps movement. Now you might have some of these critters at your home, and you keep them in one of those little grated cages, and it seems like they're free to sort of run around. But and some people say, well, they're natural predator, and unnatural predators around like cats and birds and whatnot, and they'll just get eaten, or you might step on them, right? Well, how would you feel if you were a hamster and locked in a hamster cage, right? I'm very active on social media, and um, an officer just came by and asked me um, if this was my banana, and I said, uh, "No, I'm holding it for someone else." They came off the train. They gave me this, right? Because I was standing here, I'm waiting for my wife to come in from the city, and I didn't know what to do. I said, "Okay, nice guy," and so I just kind of I stood here, and he came up to me, kind of accosted me. Um, I tried to turn on my phone to go on Facebook Live, but I didn't have time. And I kept telling him, this isn't my banana. It's somebody else's, right? They're from a based on a certain series of books, right? J.R.R. Tolkien, right? I haven't read the books, but I got these DVDs. I got them for my birthday one year, and so I only really watch. you know, being that I only have those, you know, those to choose from, I only really watch movies with Bilbo in them, right? So I'm the spokesperson for Gary Gimple, the Pimple Man of South Jersey, and he was voted best dermatologist 2020. Um, Even though it's 2019, right? Some people might say that's preposterous. We're not even in 2020 yet, right? Well, Gary Gimple, he's so well connected, right? And the Hobbit, trilogy. Um, I've seen one other film. I saw The Matrix at one point. I use it as an example and a metaphor in a lot of different occasions. So here I am. Gary Gimple from the. You might have seen the other video. But Gary, he's not only a dermatologist. He runs a what's called, his business is called Gary's Golf Buddies, right? And it's $50, right? So you pay Gary $50. So you pay Gary $50. At cocktail parties or if I go to the bar or whatever. But this instance, this is taken from a lesser known joke of mine. Some of you might not be familiar with it. It wasn't very publicized. I didn't do it in a. I might have just written it down and thrown it away. I might have not even done that, right? But so the joke was, right. There's two guys, and I wouldn't want to speak for their ethnicity. One of them says, "Wake up, Nacho! You're living in a cream dream. Wake up!" Right? And he wakes up, and because he's drinking so much milk, he got sleepy. Right? So I'm here representing uh, this, this a very special lady. She won last year at the fair. She won. She's known as, people call her now because she won, Darlene the Pumpkin Queen. And um, she runs a service now. It's called Darlene the Pumpkin Queen. It's pumpkin carving team. And you pay her $20, and it's kind of a seasonal thing. She actually works year round. People, for some, it's kind of strange. People will have her come out almost every day, and they'll specialty carve a pumpkin. I'm here to represent. I can't remember her name. She came in. She said she needed to post it. She didn't have enough money to post it in the paper, but I didn't get her number. Uh, Anyways, so this lady, I might see her again. So don't message me about it. Maybe I'll post a video later. But she has cockers for $20, right? Now, you've seen some, if you go out to a protest and maybe your arms get really tired. Um, you've been lifting things all day, and your hands are sore, right? You just want to, just kind of wear a t-shirt and walk around. well, this can function maybe as your sign. So it says Donald Trump is a glump, and I was just at the mattress store down the way, and they were giving me some pretty good deals. I'm always looking for deals, you know me, and I think everyone likes a good deal. I don't think anyone likes a bad deal, right? That's probably goes without saying, um, unless they're on the winning side of the bad deal, right? I have a new show coming out. It's you know I'm going to cover the sort of political goings ons, the sort of imperialistic overlord sort of coverage of the world as we're I don't want you to see everything. Maybe just a swath of things that are terrible and make you kind of anxious and give a general sense of fear and anxiety about the everything's terrible, and then we'll have I'll play some commercials after that. So um, you know sometimes when I'm watching the news, I'm like, I can't believe that, that politics, right? And this is kind of how the circle of life goes. Someone has to lose, right? Someone has to lose, so there can be value exchanged. This sort of negative, in a negative sort of entropy economy, right? Someone has to get screwed at some point. So just having said that, there's free mattresses for your life, right? And I'm winking right now, if you can see. I, you know, um, take your chances when you go into the mattress store, right? I'm just saying, it might not be, well, I don't want to say because you don't really want to spill the beans. I might be getting a percentage on this. But, if you want to wear a t-shirt with this on it and look really, go out to a party, right? There's a bunch of hipster people there. They have like these esoteric bands, printed t-shirts, right? And you're like, who's that band? I've never heard of them. And you're like, you haven't heard of that? I can't believe it, right? And you're like, well, I haven't. And they're like, right? Well, you yourself, you can have something clever too, right? So they'll go, right? And you won't feel like such a dummy, right? I was, you know, I was looking to kind of refurbish my, I was out in the market and I was kind of looking around, and uh, I figured, um, having experienced it personally myself, I think other people might be interested in this um, type of thing. So I want everyone to come down and get your serviced, right? Come down and get your serviced, and everything will be taken care of, no problems, right? So if you buy one of these T-shirts, you can wear it'll say this on it, and you look really clever, right? I was just informed by the central authority that I was on the bus and I was going past the bank, and I was kind of appalled at what the situation was there, and I was told by a representative. They said it was bank parking only. They said for me to tell everyone it was bank parking only, no money, no service, right? So no money, no service, right? It's bank parking only. Stay out, right? I'm the spokesperson for, um, well, I wasn't really told. Several suited men came in and kind of roughed me up a little bit, and they said, "We want you to go around and we want you to spread the word, spread the message." And they said, "Here's what you have to say." They said, "Thinking you happy, make us happy. Welcome you, right?" And I saw this new business pop up, and I was on the bus, so I got off and I asked them, "Hey, do you need any help promoting, your hiring event? I saw you had a sign out front. You're trying to get new people to work there." And they said, yeah, sure. And they wrote this down verbatim for me to promote. I told them, no, I'll just make up some T-shirts, and you won't see any of the profit, but I'll make some money on it, and maybe it'll get the word out, about you. Everybody, win-win. And right, so this is my last T-shirt, really, and I'm struggling, 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 struggle, struggling. Sorry. I was sort of a struggling. I don't know how to say it. I'm sort of a struggling artist, right? And one time a guy called me, hey, Vincent Van Goof, right? I was trying to do a stand-up set, and this never really happened, by the way. And he said, you're like the Vincent Van Goof of comedy, right? And I just shook my head. Is that heckler? He comes every week, right? And he sits in the front row and he just shouts insults at me, right? And so I assume this wasn't like a compliment. Um, so you know what I said? I said, well, come back next week. I'll cut my ear off, right? And I never did, right? But I did. I am an artist, so if you can see, I made some like this swirly sort of. It's like this is like a swirly. It's like swirly. The Indians ate corn, and you know, so I was recently watching this sort of film version of a Shakespearean play, Macbeth, and this lady, nice lady, I want to say, she was sitting about 2 rows back from me, and as the tension was building, towards the sort of like, that scene, and she was going, Macbeth, don't do it, right? Hold on, lights cut out. Macbeth, don't do it, right? And I went, shh, right? And she said, you shh, right? And I said, I'm gonna call the manager on you, right? And she said, do it, right? I'll see you outside, right? So I just sat there, right? They, some comedians, and I'm not a comedian, I wouldn't presume to try to make you laugh or do any of that, really. Um, I'm just a real guy. I'm just trying to, make an honest buck. But Tiny Tim has a limp, and he's, just based on his sign, he says, I'm not gonna give you a whole guilt trip about it. I'm just gonna sell you these tacos. So it's up front. When you go in there, uh, Tim, he's a little guy. He's got a limp, but he's not gonna give you a whole. He's not gonna give you his life story. He just wants to sell you some tacos, right? So I don't know about you guys, but I'm really big into these super guy movies, and any kind of civil service allegory. I would like, eventually, I would like every single movie to be, essentially, it's like you go in, right? You pay to see it, and then they have recruiting stations outside the theater, right? For one of the branches of service. Maybe you want to be a policeman, or any of these jobs. Um, but I saw this. I saw, you know, and I called the studio, and I said, I want to promote this film. I want to make a T-shirt for this. And so this is for the new, right. Some of you read these comics and you're really excited, right? This is the for the new Wet Man versus Dry Man movie. It's coming out. I'm here promoting a thing for another one of my long-term acquaintances, sort of business associates. His name's Teb Abernathy. He's a retired accountant. He lives in where does he live? He lives in Arizona, and he said, he's retired. I think he lives in Phoenix, right? And he doesn't have much to do all day, so what he does now for a living, for a little extra money, he sits on top of his roof, and he counts air conditioning units on all the other roofs that he can see. I'm not sure how he's making money on this, but if you go by Teb's, you see him sitting on his roof in his lawn chair, just kind of looking around, kind of like, right, you know, just poke him a few times, and he'll kind of snap out of it. And so if you want to hear one of Teb's tennis stories, just give him $20, and he'll tell you all about. All right, so I'm here promoting another. This is Gary Gimple. He's the only remaining dermatologist in the South Jersey area. That's really allowed to practice. Or else, right? Gary's got some very some powerful friends, right? And so forget about it, right? It's his business, and so Gary's getting into the cream business, and so if anyone lived through the '90s, the Just Say No programs, they're very effective, right? Cannabis definitely, even though it's like the healthiest thing in the world, and single substance, and the government owns a patent 6630507. It has medical application for like everything you could think of. It's really something that we don't want to be giving to people, preemptively to prevent diseases that it does. It's prevent, it's really really good for you, and I think it's definitely it definitely contributes to you not like you won't get cancer, and there's businesses that we have to keep the money flowing, right? And it makes me very angry when people they feel, when I see them around and smiling, and they're like, what is this guy? This guy on drugs, right? You see him with a big silly grin on his face, and it just makes me angry, right? And I can't stand it. So everyone likes a good fish story, right? You know, there's a class that's at the local seminary over here, the Baptist Church. Um, it's running. I hold it every week. Every day, really. It's a chocoholic anecdotes, for adventures for moms. $20, just $20. I'll get you all week, right? You can come in. You'd be like, sometimes I'll eat little bit of chocolate, right? And it's encouraged. You can go, right? And then we'll talk about all the hooligans out there who are smoking this marijuana, and just running about, causing just raping and murdering everyone, right? I imagine, right? Statistically, I don't know what the case is, but I think this is what they're probably up to, right? It might be the healthiest single substance with the most applications for all disease, pretty much every non-virulent disease that you can think of, that's making billions and trillions of dollars for these companies. But it's beside the point, and we're going to talk about why it's so bad at this class. We hold it every day. They drop the kids off at school, and they can come in, and they'll you know I get some chocolate, sometimes, I'll eat you know, some dark chocolate. And you know, so there's like, yeah, tens and tens of